Today, sexual assault is an issue that is all too commonly found on college campuses. We caught up with a USC student who spoke about her experience and the recovery process. Per her request, we are not revealing her identity.
No one really knew for the longest time. It was just my roommates and my friends. But it kept eating away at me. I was literally just like crying every day, it's so weird because like that's not who I am at all. And eventually it got to the point where like I couldn't be around my family because I didn't know how to kind of fake a smile anymore. It was really hard for a really long time. I was slut-shamed incessantly for over a year. Talking about it more and more made me, I guess, feel stronger about the situation. And actually like speaking about it, I had a lot of other girls come up to me and confide in me. They'd never told anyone before, they'd never reported it. I just think talking about it is like a huge thing and just kind of like spreading the word.
At the Oscars on Sunday, singer Lady Gaga performed her song titled "Till It Happens to You," a song about sexual assault on college campuses. During her performance, she was joined on stage by numerous sexual assault victims and survivors. Joining us now is one of those survivors, Paige Sawson. Paige, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So you were part of Lady Gaga's very moving performance. Tell us a little bit of what that was like.
It was really incredible. I think that when all of us got the call, all the survivors, to participate in this, we were kind of hesitant because none of us had publicly, except for the 12 who had been featured in The Hunting Ground, the film that she and Diane Warren gifted their song to. I think nobody had really talked about it publicly. So it was difficult at first, but then honestly, we were met with so much support and it was such an empowering, awesome performance that I'm so glad that I got to be a part of it.
Now, talking a little bit about that support that you just mentioned, there's been a lot of positive feedback coming from Lady Gaga's performance, but not all of it has been necessarily positive. Speak a little bit about that.
So a lot of the support that we got, or most of it is support. When I got off stage, I already had like 60 messages from people, both family and friends, and people from high school who I really hadn't talked to, saying, you know, that they were proud and that they saw me and that it means a lot. Unfortunately, there are, if you look at comments of like some of the posts about the performance, there are people who still say, you know, Lady Gaga deserved what she got because of her past videos, or pointing specific people out that were on the stage and saying, how could they have been raped? Look at them. And it's awful that this is still thoughts that people are having, because it shows a lack of understanding as to what rape and sexual assault actually is. So while this is great and while we started a dialogue by doing this, there's still so much that has to be done, including education and awareness, for this cause really to be fixed. Right.
So what advice would you give to someone who maybe wants to help raise awareness for this terrible issue, but maybe doesn't exactly know how because of the sensitivity of the subject matter?
I think that for people who, are you talking about people who have not had it happen to them and still want to help?
Exactly.
I think just showing your support to the cause and showing that you will not victim blame, that you will believe victims who come up and say that they have been assaulted, really is the main thing, which is very easy to do, or so it should seem. However, there's still a lot of stigma attached to it. I know that I personally didn't end up pressing charges because at the time I couldn't do it because I was met with so much opposition and slut shaming. And you'll hear that from every single person who's had this experience. So really, the most important thing to do is really easy. It's just to show your support and to make sure that you're being sensitive to these issues and making people know that you believe them. That's really the most important thing. And then obviously going to things like Take Back the Night, going to, obviously that shows your support as well. But ultimately for your loved ones who this has happened to, because there absolutely are loved ones in your life that this has happened to, whether or not you know it. It's really just being supportive.
Great. Well, Paige, we thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing a little bit about your story. Now, Suji, back to you at the desk.